we can't quite work out who keeps sending us bricks. And we went,
Really?
what? And every time we do a mass direct mailing, and you're only looking for 10% of those people to come back at you, but we would get 10% plus a brick. We couldn't work out who the brick was.
Hello, lovely people. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Emma. Today, I am joined by the lovely Phoebe, who's very excited to be here. We're going to talk about how to become a millionaire. Would you like to introduce yourself, Phoebe, for the people who may not be familiar?
So if you don't know me, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm some, teeny, tiny, insignificant speck of a YouTuber. Which at the time of recording, my channel has 526 subscribers. So if you'd like me, come along and, subscribe to my channel. So I am an interview channel. I do long-form interviews of people currently focusing on non-cisgendered people.
I want it to be known up front that this is your fault.
Yes, it is very much my fault. There is photographic evidence of this being my fault. I have actually been round to, the Goblin's Lair, and I bought a box of evil.
You brought something like, what did we discover? Something like 60?
So we've worked out that they were 63 DVDs.
63 DVDs.
And 7 master discs.
Okay, so we're talking about, you'll know from the video title already, but we're talking about Andrew Reynolds. We're talking about millionaire makers. We're talking about his
Entrepreneurs
Bootcamp. I believe Andrew Reynolds started his own network called the Entrepreneurs Network, which is sort of a similar thing where he hosts other entrepreneurs. So Andrew Reynolds, not the skateboarder, not Andrew Reynolds the actor, not Andrew Reynolds the archaeologist. These are all people that came up when I googled Andrew Reynolds before the one I was looking for. This is
Andrew Reynolds. You're thinking of is the guy who gave away £10 to a load of kids and said, "Go away and make more money," and he got on telly for it.
This is the self-made millionaire entrepreneur. He's had a couple of TV shows now, where it's all about making money. He might be one of the last people with his name to come up in a Google search, but he is legendary within the marketing world. As a man, very difficult to find anything about. Everything I found about him has been from interviews that he's done or his own websites and things. So we kind of have to take his word for a lot of what he says.
But he was Surrey Businessman of the Year at one point.
He did win Surrey Businessman of the Year, amongst other prestigious
Accolades.
business event awards. His website talks about how he made his money. It says that he was a millionaire by 45. It's quite braggadocious, but it doesn't say a thing about how he did it. I dug up an article in the deep depths of random business websites, and I found that basically, according to him, what happened is when he was younger, he attended a seminar in Las Vegas by someone else on how to make money from home, and he did it. Specifically, he bought licenses to the tapes of this other person explaining how to make money and sold those in the UK. So fast forward to today, and that's exactly what Reynolds does now. He sells footage of himself and other people explaining how to make money to people who sell those DVDs on how to make money to people who sell those DVDs on how to... And that there's
collapsing under the weight of it all.
There's nothing remotely. The closest to a product we could find was some how to cook
vegetarian
DVDs amongst the collections. How to cook vegetarian. This is such a huge thing at the moment, and Reynolds has clearly been at the heart of it for a long time. It's just teaching people how to make money by selling them the way to teach people to make money. By selling them the way to teach people to make.
So it was selling people the concept of how to sell to other people, to make money by selling that to other people.
So this is kind of the fundamental reason I'm interested in Andrew Reynolds and the Entrepreneurs Network that he has built. For a lot of people, it seems like for Reynolds as well, despite his website being he cares about people, he's passionate about people, and that's why he does this. I'm pretty confident, I can't say for certain because I'm not psychic, I'm pretty confident the reason that, say somebody would do this is probably because selling the courses makes a huge amount of money.
Self-enrichment.
But no, he does it because he cares about the people. It's a business for the sake of money and nothing else. In my opinion... business should be, at least partially, selling and marketing should be about providing something, a product, a good, just giving something to the world.
I mean,
that doesn't
even
exist,
cryptocurrencies are something.
At least there's a hint of
intangible
something.
There may be an intangible something, but there are something. It's like foreign exchange markets, commodities markets, forex, crypto exchanges. There's something there. But here, it's like you're just purchasing the mirage of something that's there.
That's exactly what it is. He's selling a dream. He's selling the dream of wealth. He's saying, I did this. I have a huge customer base. If you do exactly the same thing as me, you too can be a millionaire. Even though, why would any customers go to you when I nearly called him Ryan Reynolds.
They can go to Andy Reynolds.
They can go to Andy Reynolds already. It's absurd. And like with most multi-level marketing schemes, most sort of marketing schemes of this nature, like it doesn't take long before you run out of customers completely, because you're all using the same customer base, selling the same product. And I think part of the reason he was successful is because he took an entrepreneur in the US's system and brought it to the UK. And if he was the first person to do that on a big scale, then it makes sense that he would develop a big audience. But that audience is gone. Those customers are taken already.
And the other thing to remember about Andrew Reynolds is, what does he look like? I don't mean to sound as if I'm being stereotypical, but he looks like some generic middle-class, middle-aged dad. And that's who he's going after. The stereotypical middle-aged, middle-class, very white dad. That's the kind of guy that goes, yeah, I'll be a millionaire one day. Yeah, I can make it. Yeah, I'll be a millionaire. It's like, yeah, be a millionaire too. And they all never become a millionaire.
How did you come to know of this man?
For the avoidance of doubt here, I have not signed any non-disclosure agreements. I have not signed any confidentiality agreements. And I have not entered into any contracts with Andrew Reynolds. My father may have entered into contracts with him. I do not know. My father may have tried to implicitly include me in contracts with him. But you can't include a person that's not party to a contract in a contract. That's nonsense. I went to the O2 in 2011. And I was at the Entrepreneurs Bootcamp.
So jealous.
I know. They gave away a Bentley.
God. So you went to this because your dad was a fan or a follower?
A believer.
A believer.
As long as he did nothing and I did all the work.
It's facetious, but I've got to ask. Did you or your father become millionaires?
So Andrew Reynolds, if you want to sue me, there's nothing to sue for. Absolutely nothing to sue for here. Because I haven't ever seen more than 4 figures in my bank account. So there's my millionaire money making... Where is it? Have you ever seen those clickbaity adverts at the bottom of, like news articles? Where it will say something like, grandfather discovers secret to money and wealth, or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
He was responsible for people putting that kind of rubbish out. Because you click through onto it, and it was like, well, we've done research that says that the pricing ends in a 7 because that's psychological. Click here with all the lights of bells and whistles. It's
a simple system, then. If you copy it, I think his most prominent book is, or a most recent, or is like Copy This. Yes. Or something like, it's called something to that effect. But he's written...
Or Mirror This or something.
Yeah, he's written multiple books. He's done, we've got 60-something DVDs downstairs in a big drawer. And it's amazing.
And
if it's such a simple system.
And master discs.
And master discs. And he's got his website and all these so many online courses, and they're still going. He's still starting new ones. You think, how can there be anything new to say? Could he not just dress up his original first master disc with, slightly more modern technology and then put that out? Why would you need to do a new course every 6 months?
So what he would say, you need to keep people coming back. Repeat customers are your friend. Not only are they your friend, but they need to keep engaged. And you need to make it as difficult as possible for them to send back the product.
But the easiest way to do that is not to have a product.
Yes, but in some cases there were tangible items that you would get through. So you actually got sent through a box with DVDs in it on a monthly basis. So there's a series downstairs which has got 12 DVDs. Your subscription every month paid for one part of it. So you didn't get all 12 in one go. If you didn't want it, you couldn't use their packaging because their packaging was collapsing packaging that was unreusable. It was so cheap. So then to send back product, you had to, at your expense, go and repackage it. Waste your time repackaging it. Because the last thing you wanted was it to come back to you. Because that's a waste of your time and money. What you do is you give them a free post address to send it back to. Because then they think they can send it back to you, but then it's just too much effort to actually send it back, and 99 people out of 100 won't bother. He did say, though, there was a problem with the free post address. We can't quite work out who keeps sending us bricks. And we went, what? Yes, because it's a free post, they can send us anything and we get charged for it. So they send us bricks. We haven't worked out who the person is yet, because we keep on, culling random people off of... But every time we do a mass direct mailing, because that's how you do it, you get your list of people and you go into the ether. And you're only looking for 10% of those people to come back at you, but we would get 10% plus a brick. We couldn't work out who the brick was.
Tell me what is the process of doing an Andrew Reynolds
so you do the Andrew
course
Reynolds
or whatever.
So, say you were at the Entrepreneurs Bootcamp. You're in the O2. Because it was at the O2, this Entrepreneurs Bootcamp. They hired out the O2. And it was packed. Not only was it packed, but everybody paid. Okay. So you're at the Entrepreneurs Bootcamp and you've just heard somebody speak. Say you've just heard Andrew speak. And he would say, outside now is this product. And I'm selling it to you at this price. This discounted only here price of something ending in a 7. Go now! First 30 people there get it for free. And amazingly, when you got there, the 30 people were already there. I'm not making any assertions that those weren't genuine customers. It's just that I never knew anybody that got one of the 30 free ones. It would normally be a box of some description. Instead of it being like 37 or 67, it was usually something like 577 or 777. It was a lot of money. And they would say, you are investing in your prosperity of tomorrow. Where have we heard that before? It would be a box. And it would contain a couple of DVDs in there. There'd be master discs. You'd get the master discs. So this is the thing that you'd be purchasing the whole thing from. So this was the whole course. Mm-hmm. So you say you were purchasing the Entrepreneurs Bootcamp. You'd get your 12 discs, plus your bonus disc about the car. Because remember, that was a separate disc. And then it'll be master discs. Then you get the packaging materials. You get some gumph about what you're supposed to do. And then you were supposed to go away, set up your own website, set up your own mailing list, use the templates that they'd given you, and just wait for the money to roll in. Literally, that is what you were supposed to do.
What sort of price would you be selling on if you bought like a 500 quid?
So that was at your discretion.
Box of DVDs and stuff.
This was at your discretion.
Oh, it was up to you. I see.
So you weren't given a price to sell it onto. You could have sold them at 30 quid a month, say for example. Or you could, but you had to sell them individually. You couldn't sell them on block. You were not allowed to sell them on block. As he said, if you sold them on block, you'd be undermining the whole system. And you wouldn't get that repeat custom. So people wouldn't be used to the repeat custom, so it would just fall apart. Fail. So you'd sell it week by week by week by week. And you'd send out a mass mailing saying, because you weren't really interested in selling them the product. All you were really interested in was the email address. The bigger your database was, the larger your 10% of respondents would be. So therefore, the more money you got. And you would never sell them the master discs until a certain point. And that point was once they got all of the original discs. So once you'd flogged them the lot, you were then entitled to sell them the master disc. So then they could flog their lot. And then they could do the same, and then they could do the same, and then they... So, and then it would be like, oh, look, fabulous new product for you to get to new customers. Secret. Came with like a fancy seal on the outside and a black box and everything. But this time there was too much in the box. And nobody was interested in it because it just took up so much space. And it would go on and on and on and on and on and on and on forever. And I went to another one of his seminars. This was at a hotel near Heathrow Airport. And he said, I spoke to my girlfriend. And I said, well, what's wrong with that in the corner? She went, don't remind me. I mean, don't remind me. It's all from you. What do you mean it's all from me? That's your The Secret stuff. Just taking up all this space. And I haven't even got all of it. It was just too much. I had to stop it because it was just too much. So that was one of his things that actually failed. So whilst he tells you it's all success, 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 The Secret, and it was all very Egyptian-y feel, and you'd get the DVD through, and it was all, I'm going to walk you through on the computer. He had his headset on, and his little microphone here, and it would be like the screen capture mode on it. It would type on, type on, type on. But that was a total flop, as far as he was concerned. Because he hadn't realised the product was just enormous. So what it boiled down to was that he would say to you, buy my product, then sell my product for me, and then you get someone to sell your product for you.
Good Christ. I love that. So say you do your Entrepreneurs Bootcamp, and it's older O2, so smaller, but still packed O2's worth of people are all selling to people who are going to sell to there's just not enough people. There's just no way there's going to be somebody else in the audience from the same area as you who's not it's how can anybody pretend that that's feasible?
Because they didn't sell it as you're going to run out of customers. They sold it as, look at what we have done. And there was this one guy, one of the speakers was in a band of some description. As a result of him being in this band, at one point, at the end of this thing, they started talking about prosperity journals and dream journals, where you write something down, and because you've written it down, it gives you a goal to do it. And he had started playing his guitar or his drums or something, and then the rest of this band came out. And then he throws up at the end of it, at the back of this, I'd always dreamed of playing at the O2 with my band, and I just got to do it because I'm using the Millionaire Maker's system.
I want to call it a scam. I don't want to because I'm scared that I'll get sued, but
yeah,
it's very close to a scam. Let's say that.
I have been very careful in what I have said. I have, to the best of my recollection, recited what I remember from these things. And all of this is my opinion. I personally do not believe that any of this makes the majority of people millionaires. I just don't believe it because, as Emma has said, you run out of people!
Okay, so something we've touched on a little bit that I think is funny. It's funny, but I want to talk about it because I do think it's interesting and worth noting. And it's something that bodes ill for us. Based on a lot of the comments I've read on articles and forums and things about his courses, none of which is, again, disclaimer, none of that is easily verifiable. So take it with a grain of salt. Just reporting what other people have alleged. People have alleged that Reynolds has quite a legalistic approach to criticism, with some people saying that they've seen or had threads removed when they've revealed what they believe to be misdeeds or failings of the courses, things like that. So I wanted to just highlight something that you mentioned earlier, which is that non-disclosure agreements were involved in Reynolds' seminars, because that
I have not signed any of them. I haven't signed any paperwork with Andrew Reynolds. I would like to make this 100% clear. I went along with my father, and my father signed all the paperwork, filled out all the paperwork in his name. Nothing was signed by me. I entered into no contract whatsoever of any description with Andrew Reynolds. None.
We'll put that on the screen in big text just to make doubly sure.
Yes.
But it just strikes me as so bizarre. And I come from the film and TV world where, all of my work used to be under NDA. And even like sort of film stuff has gone a bit over the top with NDA wise. But the idea that seminars on how to make money selling DVD courses would
the reason that he said that was because I don't want you to undermine the product. This is a secret. This is just for you to go and sell. Bearing in mind, I went to these things over 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I got out of it. And I'm only now feeling that there's enough space between me and when I went to actually be able to talk about these things.
My personal opinion, it feels like a manipulation. Because really, when you look at any of these DVDs, and they were, theoretically, people were selling them out to customers, and customers weren't signing an NDA when they were buying a DVD, So this information is designed to be spread. And really, at the core of a lot of this entrepreneurship, make money stuff, it's kind of motivational crossed with common sense, crossed with some basic business information. Nothing in there is... Yeah, basic IT skills, how to make a website, and then how to send out mass mailing lists. There's nothing in there that warrants the protection of a non-disclosure agreement, really. I feel like it's just a tool to potentially could be used as a tool to control people discussing whether something might not have worked for them, and just as a way to make it seem maybe more
scarier
legitimate
than what it is.
Yeah.
I think it's to create a mystification. Because he is like a fiat currency. Not really backed by that much. And a lot of it's on trust.
Mm-hmm.
Like a fiat currency. A lot of it's on trust. And when the trust disappears, it disappears. But it is very revealing that non-disclosure agreements were in place. I can understand at the time that it was all done that if you recorded it and you bootlegged it onto the internet, you wouldn't pay for the seminar. But you can write that in a different way by saying no recording equipment of any description is allowed to be used during this seminar. I always remember once, we were both in the same toilet together. So this is pre-transition me. Both in the same toilets together. And he was just a very nondescript kind of guy. That was the selling point. He was an everyman. And because he was an everyman, you the everyman, could do it as well. So good luck trying to find me, Andrew Reynolds, if you are trying to sue me, because a lot about me has changed since I attended your seminar.
We're laughing, but wouldn't it be great publicity for this if it happened, though?
It would be wonderful publicity for this.
It would be great publicity.
Just think, you could just think this could catapult you to being on Nebula.
This could be it. I think that particular ode to Entrepreneurs Bootcamp, that'd be something different.
Bootcamp,
something more interesting.
Silver Award or something.
I believe it won Business Event of the Year award and a couple of other things. There's so many of these online course sellers, schemers, multi-level marketers, entrepreneurs who have these prestigious awards. There's these people that I've talked about before who, when you search them online, results are split between like Forbes articles and all these accolades and how amazing they've done, and people saying, I'm worried this is a scam, this doesn't work, beware this scheme, don't try it. And
getting
all
more
these
generic, the ultimate example of that is Bernie Madoff.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate example of that, because people were going, no, Bernie Madoff can do no wrong, Forbes articles, Economist articles, etc. People were going, yes. Where is it? What's the behind Bernie Madoff?
Exactly. And so my question kind of for everyone on that note is, I guess there's kind of two parts here for me. Either we say, okay, these being on a Forbes list or having these awards shouldn't mean as much as we
prestige
give
is
it
only
meaning.
What we As I said earlier, it's like a fiat currency. It's not really backed by much apart from trust in it. And if the trust disappears, it's just a statue. It's just a hunk of metal. It's just a piece of paper with some writing on it. So, for example, do you want a name with an E on the end? You are now YouTuber of the Year 2022.
I'm the YouTuber of the Year. I can't believe it.
As awarded by the Sussex Sauna Dwelling Society.
I've got a PhD from the Church of Bacon. You know, there's these things mean whatever meaning we attribute to them.
Minister in the Pastafarian Church.
But so here's the thing: is that people do still consider things like Forbes. Yes, exactly. They hang a lot of hats on it. They consider those things reputable. So while that's considered reputable, should these businesses, I mean, I say no, should these businesses be granting awards to people and companies that barely even have a product that sell not much more than an idea that we know is unattainable? That's because to me, that's just not ethical.
But the real question is, though, not should they be giving out these awards to these people? Should they be giving out these awards? There are awards for giving out awards. You can get an award for the best award ceremony nowadays. You can get awards for awards for all. As my mother would turn around and say, it is the ultimate in nobody is a loser, everybody is a winner kind of thing that was, shouted about in the Daily Mail in like the mid-2000s. But this is
the old participation trophy.
Yeah, your participation trophy.
Yeah.
Not diminishing participation awards, but it does feel kind of like awards for award ceremonies.
Well, it's like something like the business event of the year. It feels like, I mean, it's not misleading because its title is clear, but it's used to suggest that this is a good business that they're selling, when really they just put on a good event.
Credibility. It's used to give credibility to something. Exactly.
Yeah. And then they stack those up online to look impressive in the very few blurbs that exist out there about Reynolds, basically the ones that he's either written himself or has had written for him for his websites and things. They stack these up as if they have these great meaning to help, again, just sell a dream, a non-thing.
To sell what they would call in America the American dream.
Yeah, that's what it is.
We're doing here.
Reynolds literally brought the American dream back from America and spread it in the UK. I'm furious about it.
So am I. Yes. So for the voice of doubt, this is being recorded on the 23rd of November 2022.
Don't date this. It'll be 10 years before it comes out.
Because we will have been stuck in legal purgatory for 10 years.
Yeah. For as long as the lawsuit with Andrew Reynolds
Thorne and Rose versus Reynolds and others.
This will be the video on the GoFundMe where we're raising legal fees.
And we'll end up at like the Supreme Court going, how the hell did we end up here? So this is very recent.
You can tell because it talks about the World Cup.
In Qatar, or Qatar, or however you pronounce it. Good morning, name redacted. You win! We've won.
So massive. Yeah, it says you win in enormous text, fucking huge
underlined
letters in red
with an exclamation mark. As you know, over the last few days, I've been telling you how you can be guaranteed to win a tax-free profit with very little effort during the Qatar World Cup, which is now only just a few weeks away.
Guaranteed in full caps, obviously.
Of course, guaranteeing that you'll make a tax-free profit. I realise this is difficult for you to perhaps get your head around. And until you actually try it and have got money in your hand from the returns you'll make over the World Cup in Qatar coming up, I guess you'll still not 100% believe it. World Cup in Qatar is in red. However, perhaps it's best explained in these simple terms. Imagine you could win money based on the outcome of a coin being tossed into the air. Now further imagine you knew a way of making a guaranteed profit, underlined, block capitals.
And full caps, yep.
Regarding whether the coin came down heads or tails. In other words, on the count of 3, say this together.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
If the coin lands on heads, you win!
If the coin lands on tails,
You win!
you win!
Yeah.
In short, regardless of which face the coin lands, you win. You make a profit. Click here. What's more, imagine if not only you knew the exactly before that coin is flipped in the air, but you also knew exactly how much you'd win. In short, it would be 100% risk-free, as it becomes impossible for you to lose. Well, this simple analogy exhibits perfectly how the tax-free system I recommend you trial during the World Cup at Qatar works, and I also illustrate why my friend has never had a losing month in the entire 12 years or so he has been using it. However, name redacted. Time is running out fast. See, they always give you a sense of urgency.
Yeah, it's like scarcity
The
marketing.
World Cup begins next weekend. In fact, next weekend you should collect your first tax-free profit. But you are leaving it late. Urgency, urgency, urgency,
Yeah.
urgency, urgency. Classic marketing skills here. This is standard marketing that most marketeers will do. So please don't miss out. When all you need to do is click the link below. Click, 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 click. Click here, click here, click here. And make sure you are in a position to take that risk-free trial. Do not click here. Do not do it. There's another click here as well.
It says click here.
There's another click
here about 5 times, I think, at the bottom of this email. The amount of times this email says guaranteed profit. Guaranteed.
Or win.
Risk-free. Tax-free. You win. You can't lose.
You win. You win.
It's unbelievable. And, like, I'm not clicking on it. But I'm going to assume that there probably isn't a 100% guarantee, because I'd be very surprised if Andrew Reynolds was willing to put 100% guarantee on whatever scheme this is.
So here's the only way how you can 100% guarantee to make money: be the Royal Mint.
Yeah.
That's it. Or the US Federal Reserve, or the European Central Bank. They're the only people guaranteed to make money.
So what happens usually in these kind of online courses, seminars? This said trial, which was very vague, mostly just analogies about how great making money is, this email. Usually there'll be...
Don't miss out on your free trial now.
Time's running out. You've got to do it now.
You are leaving it late, remember?
It'll be like, there'll be like, 30 slides or whatever, and on the last slide in a tiny bit of text or on a terms and conditions page somewhere, it'll be like, results are not guaranteed. You have to put in hard work, and if you don't, there'll be like a money back guarantee if you follow every single step of this program for 6 months and you can prove that you've done every single thing. Because if you don't do 100% of all of the work that we said, then of course you weren't going to make it. You just didn't put in the hard work. And that's usually how they get around that.
And the other thing that you might get, the other thing you might get, it might say on the last slide, to reveal this slide, buy this. To reveal the true secret, we have given you the building blocks, but to reveal the true secret, pay X.
Yeah, something and £7.
Something ending in a 7. Or something ending in a 797.
Yes, yeah.
57, 67, 77. What I always remember, though, is that during there would be video packages that they would play. And he came across as a genuinely nice guy.
Sure.
And he would be like, I'm in South Africa giving money here. And that would be one of them. And then he'd come across as, I'm selling you prosperity. Driving my, Bentley round in the corner on my gravel driveway to my swinging open automatic gates to my big house and this stuff.
Yeah.
And that was the kind of dichotomy that it was. You can have it all. You can be the nice guy, and you can have the 2.4 children aspirational family mansion.
Yeah.
Did I become a millionaire? No.
But now's your chance, because you and I are going to go through the program.
And now is your chance as well, because you have...
We're going to go through the programs
DVDs
together.
And
we're going to become
yes,
millionaires. Or
well, of course we are.
Or we're going to go through and we're going to pick out the silly, unrealistic claims, look at the tiny bits of common sense, and laugh at some of the more outdated technical
All
aspects.
this whilst wearing fancy clothes.
Obviously.
Of course, we're British. What were you expecting, audience?
Yeah, so we have got a huge volume of DVDs from different sets. I think the first thing we're going to do is take a look at the Entrepreneurs Bootcamp.
We have alluded to it quite heavily here.
Yeah, which I'm pretty excited about, and yeah, we'll see if I'm because a lot of these programs do have an element of common sense. I would say most people would probably say when they do some sort of money-making online scheme or program of any kind, there's always a kernel of decent stuff there. The price that you're paying to access that little bit of good information is massively inflated, is my main feeling. Like, fortunately, I didn't pay 700 quid or whatever for this program.
Yeah, some of these programs were expensive. Some of them were over £1,000 10 years ago.
Insane.
So just imagine 11% inflation in this country.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of money. All I will say is I will leave you with this, Emma.
Yeah. All right. That's the most important thing to have happened is my YouTuber of the Year certificate. Directly from the sauna. The sauna board.
Yeah, the
Sauna Society.
The board of the Sussex Sauna Society.
That's it. Okay, so thank you so much, Phoebe, for joining me for this.
Well, thank you for letting me.
Thank you for introducing me to Andrew Reynolds and helping me.
Had you not heard of Andrew Reynolds?
Not to this degree. He was just like a face that I had seen amongst other entrepreneurs. I didn't know he was such a key player.
Was he an NPC in your other MLM endeavors?
Yeah, he's an NPC in the background of my canon universe.
Now we're exploring the NPC. It's like. You didn't really realise you needed this.
So while people are still signing up to his courses, we might as well talk about it and see if we can't come to some conclusions that might help.
End up in court.
Yeah. End up in court. All right. So yeah, support us if you don't want to see us drowning in legal fees.
End up in court.
Make sure you go and follow Phoebe.
Or support us if you do want us to end up in court.
Yes, just support us. Just support us.
Just support me, support Emma.
Yeah, and stick around, and we will be trying out some of these entrepreneurial resources for ourselves and becoming millionaires. So stay tuned for that.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me on.
Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. And we will see you all very soon.